I want to share with you the absolute best, easiest, simplest way to create slides from scratch using Fireworks. Now, this is not going to be a course on Fireworks. These are just place graphics, or you can use your basic tools here. If you use Photoshop or Illustrator, you know how to create graphics. But here's the cool part about Fireworks. Fireworks from the ground up was created as a web graphics program. What do I mean by that? Well, unlike Illustrator or Photoshop, Fireworks is my absolute favorite go-to tool for creating graphics. Unfortunately, as of 2013, Fireworks is no longer going to be supported by Adobe. Eventually, they're probably going to phase it out, but it's a good program to know in the meantime, because no other program does what I'm about to share with you. Now, the cool thing about this is right now I have my different pages set up. Now, again, the advantage of Fireworks is Fireworks' native file format, say that 5 times fast, is PNG, Portable Network Graphic, which is web publishable. Now, the difference, let me explain something. The difference between a portable network graphic and a JPEG is they both support photograph, continuous tone graphics, continuous tone photos. However, a PNG file supports transparency, JPEG does not. Now, GIF files support transparency, but they don't support continuous tone. So if you want to have, say, a bunch of handbags on a transparent background that you can change that in HTML background, and you don't want to go into Photoshop and do that, then you would make your graphics a PNG file for your handbags or your coats or whatever you're doing for your particular website. Now, pay close attention to what I've done here. This particular document size is 1280 by 440. Typically, I build 1280 440, 1280 320, right around there, to basically make it scalable down to a 360 iPhone or a 768 iPad or Galaxy or tablet device. So what I have going here is I properly name these. There's my HTML5 slide, there's my WordPress slide, there's my Photoshop slide. So the advantage of what I just did here is it's going to make a JPEG or whatever output device I use here to create these separate files. So it's going to make a HTML5 JPEG, a WordPress JPEG, a Photoshop JPEG. That's exactly what it's going to name the files. And here's how simple it is to do this. Anything about the files under the File menu. So File, Export, Export, File. Then based on these choices, here's my choices, we're going to export this as pages to files. Now don't jump ahead on this. In addition to that, I'm just going to go here and actually just go to my desktop real quick. We'll just go to our desktop and we'll just call this batch 1 slides. Okay, now again, don't jump ahead. Pay attention to what I'm explaining to you. This is set up in pages. Now, let me cancel this for a second. The way that I created this from scratch is once I had my first layout in place, I simply dragged this down to here to make my next layout and then just change its name. The advantage of that, it's working smart. Therefore, I can change my background, graphics, etc., especially if you're working with a logo. So you'll notice that every page has the same information up on the top left, minus maybe a color change. So the way you do this is once you have your pages set up, you can just click down here and duplicate that page, double click and give it some kind of name. Okay, so under the File menu, let's revert this. I'll revert this to the last saved version. So under File menu, File, Export, again, based on these choices, we're going to go to our desktop and we're going to say Pages to Files. And then, again, don't jump ahead. Based on these choices, we're going to export all pages as opposed to current page and export. Now, the advantage of what I just did, it's working smart. I let Fireworks, I let the software do the exporting for me, so I didn't have to select the file, export, select the file. It basically did the whole thing. So if you had 30 slides here, it just did it just like that. So let's now take that slide graphics and put it into Ultimatum theme. So here I am in my Ultimatum theme. Now, if you recall in previous videos that I have slideshows available to me, and the reason that that's available to me is because if I went to Ultimatum settings, under settings, advanced settings, remember we set up slideshows. If you don't have this turned on, it's not going to work. So I go to slideshows and I'd say add new slideshow. And we'll just add a new slideshow that's just called main slider. Okay, add images. Now I'm going to go to my desktop, and on my desktop, I'm going to select these files and open those up. Now I can see that this is 1280 by 440. If you wanted to edit this down, I would highly suggest doing that in the program first, in Fireworks or Photoshop or Illustrator, or whatever graphics program you're using. Now also, a little bit of tidbit here. Don't be lazy with this. Word salad this up. Give this some kind of intuitive name, because that's going to come up in a search engine. Anytime you have the opportunity to word salad, to put in phrases or words or keywords, do it. Don't be lazy, because a product is worthless unless people know about it. So what's the point of building your website if people don't see it, if they can't find it through search engines? And I'm going to select that. Again, I talk about that in great detail, including Google Webmaster Tools, Google Analytics, and all my little techniques I use for SEO ranking and page ranking. Now, based on these choices, I'm going to just reorganize this. Since HTML5 is probably one of the most important things out there, I'm going to drag this up to the top. Second to that would probably be WordPress. I'm going to make that my second slide. I'm going to make Google SEO my third slide, followed by Photoshop and After Effects, and publish that. Now, here's the important part. Okay, I added a slideshow. I published the slideshow. So you would think, oh, if I come back here to the front and I refresh my page, am I going to see a slideshow? No, because I don't have anything in my layout that supports that slideshow. So let's go ahead and do that. So based on these choices, ultimatum templates. Now, a lazier way to do this, and I like lazy, I like the software to work for me. If you know that you're already on your home page here, or the page that you're currently looking at, I can go right here to edit layout, theme management, edit layout, which is part of ultimatum theme. Okay, so based on these choices, I could take a slideshow and drag it right here. But what I want to take advantage of is ultimatum's full width slider. So how do I do that? Well, I go under insert row, and based on these choices, we're going to scroll down here to the bottom and insert a full width ultimatum theme width row. I'm going to take that row and drag it to the top so it's above my WordPress default loop. Then based on these choices, we're going to come down here to ultimatum slideshows. Incidentally, this would not be available to you if you don't have the advanced settings set up for the ultimatum slideshow. You're not going to be able to see that. So I'm going to take the ultimatum slideshow and drag it up to here. Now, you're going to get hit with a lot of different options. I only have one slider, but it defaults to my Nevo slider. I don't like the, well, I shouldn't say the word like. I prefer the flex slider. So I'm going to say flex slider at 440 pixels high, because that was the default graphic that I set up inside of Fireworks. Now, you can spend time in your practice to go through all these different settings and properties, yada, yada, yada. We're not going to do that in my course. I go, of course, into more detail when you sign up for my all-access ultimatum theme master course, which, of course, comes with software. I save the layout. So now, based on these choices, if I go up here to view my site, so now I have some really nice sliders in there. Pretty cool. But here's the thing I really like about this. This is responsive design, so if I decide to make this a little bit smaller, it'll work on a laptop, it'll work on a phone, etc., etc., etc. So the thing automatically scales up and scales down based on the properties that you've set up here. So you can change this anytime you see slider properties. Most slider properties, no matter who makes it, is set up in milliseconds. If you want to take a note on this, there's 1,000 milliseconds inside of a second. So if you wanted, I found a nice sweet spot is 6750, which is 6 7/4 seconds. I just came up with that formula. It works. So 6,750 milliseconds is equivalent to 6.7 seconds. I found that number to be good. If you have to read this information, the average person needs about 6.77 seconds worth of time in order to see the slide. Now, anytime they want to stop in a slide, they can just click down here, and I think most of us know how to use stuff like this. So that's how you can insert a theme, ultimatum theme slideshow. And of course, we could have many different slideshows depending on what we're talking about. Now, in my full all-access ultimatum theme master course, I go into great detail on, right now, if I click a different page heading, it's the same slider. Okay, so let's understand something. Say that I had a link that went to Dreamweaver. I might want to bring up Dreamweaver sliders. Or a link that went to Photoshop. I might want to bring up Photoshop sliders. In my All Access Master course, I share with you how to do that in a very simplistic way using the ultimatum theme. So let's move forward with more information, understand how to use the ultimatum theme. But if you really want to get serious about this, I highly suggest that you sign up for my All Access Master course using the ultimatum theme, or more importantly, if you want to learn in-depth SEO, Illustrator, Photoshop, After Effects, everything that I teach, then sign up for my All Access Pass Complete. Get all current and all future courses for life.